What up, y'all? This is Patrick Hayes coming to you from Balboa Park in San Diego, my old stomping grounds. It's actually a place I spent a lot of time many years ago, and the exact location where I put together and sent out many deep prayers. And it's funny to be back here now because I'm seeing so many of these intentions that I set out to accomplish have come true, and I'm super grateful for that. And you know, while I'm here, I wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of getting your mind blown. Have you ever had your mind blown all over your face? You know, back at the time that I was living here several years ago, for me, it was like I was so into just blowing my mind. And I'm sure you guys are probably into mind-blowing experiences also. That's probably why you tune into my channel, because you're like me in the sense that you're an explorer and you love to explore new concepts, new paradigms, and just think of crazy ass shit. Now, when I first started getting into the whole you know, evolutionary process and trying to expand myself, I went like way over over the edge, way over the deep end with just like every piece of like amazing mind-blowing content I could get my hands on. It was just every avenue I could find where there was like new mind-blowing information, like new education paradigms or new spiritual paradigms or different conspiracies, extraterrestrial stuff, like whatever it was, I was just all over it, and I was just like salivating, like sucking it all in and like boom, 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 blowing my mind all over the place. And it was super fun. And what it did for me was it gave me the ability to have mental malleability. It gave me the ability to be able to see things from many different directions and in many different dimensions. The way I like to look at it is kind of like the world as we know it is kind of like an incomplete puzzle. There's like there's patches where there's a lot of puzzle pieces together and we can see the picture, and then there's other places that are just holes and we don't know. You know, we have the tendency as humans to try to fill in those holes with what we like to think or what we think is the most plausible. And a lot of like these mind-blowing experiences that we have are when one of the puzzle pieces that we thought was full basically gets replaced with a different puzzle piece. It fits perfectly, but it looks completely different. And we're like, whoa, that's crazy, because you know, you can look at it this way or you can look at it this way, and it still fits with the surroundings. And then, you know, of those different lenses, we kind of choose which ones we think are the most interesting or the most plausible, and we just kind of run with those. And so this process of blowing my mind became this like this conquest of how far I could stretch my understanding of the possible reality. And I did that for years, and it really gave me a lot of deep insights, and there's a lot of valuable things that came from it. But what started happening over time was I eventually came to this point where I realized that I basically got addicted to blowing my mind. I was like, I wasn't taking action on bringing my gift into the world, but rather I was just kind of like synthesizing tons of information all the time, looking for crazy videos, looking for you know, different meditation techniques, just trying to figure out different stuff to get that rush, that high of like brand new paradigm, like whoa, this is crazy. And so when I had that epiphany, which is mind-blowing too, I started to shift a little bit and started to ask myself, what is it really that I am here to do, that I'm here to bring forward into the world? Because all of us have like a really specific thing, and or maybe several different specific things that we're really here to do. And so at that point in my life, I realized, you know what, it's like I can't mess around anymore. As great as it is to keep blowing my mind and like and looking at through all these different lenses, it's time for me to get down to it, get down to work, and really bring my gift forward. So I decided to focus my scale of inquiry to be directly associated with whatever gift or mission that I was choosing to bring forward. And what this did for me was it really gave me clarity on what was important. Because what I realized was that all of this like crazy mind-blowing stuff, while it gave me all those things that I mentioned earlier and it was really valuable, over time, I realized it just became a distraction from what I was really here to do. And because there was a high associated with it, it became just kind of like, you know, anybody that would watch like a sitcom or like go to the bar and get drunk. Obviously, it had greater upside than those alternatives, but it became just another distraction like one of those, because ultimately I'm here to do what I'm here to do, and if it's not in alignment with what I'm here to do, or if it's not relevant to what I'm here to do, then it's just it's kind of a waste of time. So I decided to really funnel all of my exploration into those particular areas in which I really feel as if I'm here to share. And in doing that, what I found was that the universe was really the thing that's here to instigate the blowing of my mind. And as much as it's great to be a seeker, and it is, and you should always seek, I will always seek, the scope of which I'm consciously trying to seek, I scaled it down to really be focused on those particular things that I'm really trying to bring to the world. And what started happening was the epiphanies and breakthroughs I started having became really, really relevant. They became very, very particularly relevant and practical to my path and my life. And it really started catapulting me into my own self-exploration and self-expression. And it's become way more than I ever got from just like searching all over and trying to get my mind blown, because it's relevant to what I'm really here to do. So one of the things that I noticed as far as like a red flag for me when I was kind of getting off track and just kind of like trying to consume more fringe information in order to like get this high off of it, was that I found that when it wasn't directly relevant to my path, then it wasn't directly integratable information. Meaning if it was like a flat earth or round earth and like, you know, really trying to like get to the bottom of that, or when I was going off about like, oh, well, there's this civilization of extraterrestrial and this civilization of extraterrestrial, and like these ones do this and these ones do that, and the Greys are here to do this. And when I was like going off on all of these like different tangents, you know, my lab program and what that is, what I started realizing was that when I would have a new epiphany or a new breakthrough of like what made sense, like a puzzle piece that could fit the picture, what I found myself wanting to do was share it with other people so that I could have them corroborate that or say like, oh yes, that makes sense. And the reason why I was looking for that validation from other people was because the information wasn't directly integratable into my life. Meaning I couldn't take the information, utilize it in my everyday life, and then see the results back in my reality. And so since I didn't have that direct experiential capacity to integrate this information and get feedback from the world, I wanted feedback from other people because that made it seem more real. So I found myself wanting to kind of like force my opinions or ideas on other people and convince them to think like I do, because then it made it feel more real, and these epiphanies that I had could have more validity in my reality. But what I found was that the ones where I could basically take the epiphany and integrate it into my everyday actions and be like, okay, well now that means that with this new level of perception, then I will see the direct results in my reality, or I won't see them. That became my way of validating these things for myself. So it became directly experiential and directly relevant to my life. And so when I focused my research or my study into the scope of what was extremely relevant for my creation, my gift, and bringing that forward in the world, then the information that was irrelevant just fell away. And the information that didn't work, you know, the things that seemed really cool that didn't work, they proved that they didn't work very quickly. And things became a lot simpler. I didn't have to try to like, you know, balance all these like different contradictory perceptions. I could basically just say, well, this is my truth because it's worked directly for me, and it's relevant to my life, so I'm going to move forward with it. Plus, the fact that I could see things in so many different dimensions gave me the ability to communicate with people from many different walks of life. Whereas if I was holding on so much to like, say like flat earth or round earth, if I was like holding on to one of those sides, it would be hard for me to not have tension in a relationship with somebody else that had a conflicting opinion. And so I'd always trying to be like convincing that other person or holding a resentment because it was they were making me feel as if my reality wasn't sturdy enough. Whereas the things that I know for real, I know, and nobody can really like shift that reality for me. But since I have the ability, due to all the mind-blowing experiments I've done, to, you know, see it as round Earth, see it as flat Earth, see that the Greys could be doing this, they could be doing that, it gave me the ability to kind of express my truths through any one of those lenses. So I could basically speak to people from many different paradigms without having conflict with them. So I could build a bridge to whatever paradigm they're living in, and then I can share what I truly know. I can share the truths that are real for me. Because, you know, what's real for us is only what we truly know deeply. I mean, we can create, you know, different puzzle pieces to fit in the center of that puzzle, and we can shift it a million times. But most of that stuff's hypothetical. It's just, you know, like it works mentally, but it's not something that we know that we have inside of us. What we have inside of us, that's our true power. And that can only come from experience. So having the ability to shift dimensions and see things in different realms is super powerful, because it gives us the ability to build bridges from our place of knowing to other people's mental states and share our true gifts. So this has been the major epiphany for me, and an epiphany that's relevant. And I hope that can, you know, shed some insight and hopefully help any of you out there that might be going through the same thing. So yeah, Patrick Hayes, thanks so much for tuning in. I love you guys so much. Subscribe, comment. If you have any questions, put questions in the comments below, and I'd be happy to make other videos on different topics. Again, love you guys so much. From San Diego, California, one love, Patrick Hayes. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.